Pinellas County, known for beautiful beaches and a big draw to a lot of you. Let's get into the pros and cons of living in Pinellas County, Florida. It's that time of year where I just feel like there's bugs biting me, even if there's not. But I wanted to get outside because I can see some of the natural beauty here while I make this video. I'm Sam, and this is the Living in Tampa channel. We make these videos for you about what it's like to live and move to the whole Tampa area. We're also a team of realtors, and we'd love a chance to earn your real estate business. Give us a call, text, or email anytime. Once you reach out, what we'll do is set up a Zoom call or phone call and just process your situation and see how we can best help. So call, text, or email anytime. Now I'm gonna race the rain out here, but all good, all good. Okay, pros and cons of Pinellas County. Sometimes people think Tampa is Pinellas County. Sometimes people think Tampa is just the city. Pinellas County is where the beaches are. You see this little peninsula county over here, very unique shaped landmass to the west of the city of Tampa. Known for St Petersburg, for Clearwater Beach, for all these little coastal towns. Super, super cool. In some of the videos I made when I first moved here, I pronounced the county name Pinellas, which I didn't think was that big of a deal. But people in the comments kind of lit me up about it. They wanted me to pronounce it Pinellas. They actually spelled it out, P-U-H, Nellis. I started to say it a bit softer after then. But that's not just because of the commenters. I've also just kind of, you start to learn how things are pronounced when you're in a place. My wife actually says it a little different than me too, and she grew up here, but whatever. Let's jump right into the pros of Pinellas County. Pro number one is the beaches. Often you're gonna hear about Clearwater Beach. Sometimes I like to say that that's kind of like if Disney built a beach, it would be Clearwater Beach. Lots of attractions, lots of restaurants and condos and hotels and stuff like that. Not really a locals beach. Definitely not a natural beach. I like some of the natural beaches that are off the coast a little bit. Of course, you do need to like take a ferry out there or rent a boat or own a boat, but I like those ones best. And the beaches are that like really white, beautiful sand. Not all of them are that like squeaky white sand that you get a little further south, where sometimes you get in the Panhandle. It's a really kind of natural feeling, natural white sand. You can see a lot of the beaches here. There's Fred Howard Park up in Tarpon Springs, and you have Honeymoon Island down in between Palm Harbor and Dunedin. Then you have Clearwater Beach, then you have Sand Key, and then you have this big stretch of like Madeira Beach and Treasure Island and Indian Rocks Beach, and then you have St. Pete Beach. They're all unique beaches, they're all really great. And then here you can see a few shots of Anclote Key, which is off of the coast of Tarpon Springs, to kind of get a feel for what some of those natural beaches are like. The beaches are beautiful, they get crowded, they're fun, though they're a lot of fun. They're really calm waters, and a lot of the year we're looking for high tide times to go, because then the water's up really high, you don't have as much seaweed there on the sand. It's a lot of fun. Okay, number two pro for Pinellas County is established towns. I've talked about this in the past, but I like how in this county you have these towns with old downtowns, with older buildings, with trails running through town that used to be railroads. Those kind of things are very unique in this county. You really don't get that over in the Tampa area. You get it over in the beaches area. Just because of the way each town is kind of set up, the way the main road kind of runs off to the side of all these towns, it's just a little more quiet, one chunk at a time. And I like in an area this big being able to feel like you're in a small town. Now you may not want a town as small as Tarpon Springs, but you might want one as small as Palm Harbor, where there's 60,000 people. Or even as small or as big as St. Petersburg, where there's 250,000 people. And just like I mentioned a couple of those towns there, number three pro here is there is a big variety of towns. The biggest one being St. Petersburg, being 250,000 people. And then the smallest one probably being Safety Harbor or Oldsmar, that are in that 15 to 20,000 range, and a couple other smaller ones. A couple really good sized mid-range towns too, like Clearwater being about 115,000, Largo being about 100,000. Oh, the smallest one's probably like Gulfport or Seminole actually. Well, I guess if you count the beach towns, St. Pete Beach is its own town, Indian Rocks Beach, Madeira Beach, those are all their own towns, but they're kind of different than the other towns. But you have a big variety, is all I'm saying. Pro number four, you also have a big variety of homes. You have cool old bungalows in St. Pete. We actually have a couple clients shopping for, they call them birdcage houses, these raised houses in this really cool historic neighborhood in St. Pete. Really cool mid-century modern historic homes. Then you come up to Palm Harbor and you have big houses on the golf course in Innisbrook, and you have both of those things in one area. You have newer suburban feel in the midst of it, you have older charming feel, and you can kind of find a mix between the two. Okay, and pro number 5 is water. So yeah, the beach is there. On the other side you have the bay, you have Lake Tarpon, you have a couple other lakes within the county that aren't as big. And then you have canals that come into some of these towns. In Tarpon, you have the bayous. There's a lot of water frontage in this county, a lot. So whether you want to eat and see the water, you want to drop your boat in the water at a boat ramp or in a canal behind your house and get out to the Gulf, there's a lot of access like that. Okay, let's get into the cons. Con number 1 is tourists. Now, if you're thinking about moving here, you've probably been down here on a vacation, and you've been those people that have a rental car full of stuff and carts that you're dragging out to the beach. It's fine, we've all been there. We've all been there. But if you live in these areas and you call them your home, you don't always love tourists coming in. Even when we lived in Tarpon Springs, they have the historic sponge docks. Tarpon Springs is the sponge capital of the world. You know, they dive down and spear these sponges, big natural sponges. And on the weekends, people flock to the sponge docks for sponges, for food, for all kinds of stuff. Now, you don't eat the sponges, but there's good Greek food down there. So tourists come to these areas quite a bit more, even if they're tourists from Tampa or from Lakeland or from wherever. People come over to the beaches to check them out, to check out the small towns, to do all that kind of thing. Con number 2 with Pinellas County is population density. It is the most densely populated county in the whole state. Now, if Miami was its own county and not Miami-Dade County, Miami would be more densely populated. But Pinellas County is the most densely populated. Now, what does that mean? There's still space, but it's a big state. Not everybody's crammed into these little spots, and Pinellas County is kind of one where they're a little bit more crammed in. It being surrounded by water on most sides is a big factor in that. So it can't grow out, it can only grow up. Number 3 con is insurance costs. Because it is surrounded by water, and because a lot of the homes are older, maybe they were built at lower elevations, all those kind of things, insurance costs in Pinellas County do tend to be a bit higher. Now, if you're looking at a newer home in the area, there are ways that it could be a bit cheaper. What if it has, additional securing of the trusses onto the walls, if it has, shutters for the windows, all those kind of things are going to be good discounts on your insurance. But overall, in Pinellas County, insurance is high. And that was just homeowners insurance. I'm not talking about car insurance here. Car insurance is actually more expensive in Hillsborough County, but in general, car insurance is kind of high down here too. Now, it's not like an average of $3,500 a year like you've seen these estimates online. It's not that crazy, but your insurance might go up 30-40% when you do move here. No bug bites so far, I'm so surprised. Con number 4 is not the bugs. Con number 4 is the threat of hurricanes. As you've seen in some of my previous videos, we had a house in Pinellas County that flooded during Hurricane Idalia. It's kind of a nightmare. It's not like it happens every single year. It's not even like houses flood in Pinellas County every single year. It's not like there's big hurricanes every single year, but there's always a threat of it. A lot of your insurance is paying for that. Even I'm outside of Pinellas County. I'm in Pasco County now, inland quite a bit. I just got my insurance renewal. The way they break down the premium is like, this is for hurricane coverage and this is for non-hurricane coverage. My insurance here is like $2,100. The amount of it that was for non-hurricane coverage was only like $400 of that. Most of it's for hurricane coverage because it brings more water, brings more wind, brings all those kind of things that could cause damage to a home. But in Pinellas County, you do have an increased risk of hurricanes. Now, we can avoid flood zones in that county when we find a house. It's pretty easy to do. But there's still just greater risk in the area overall. Okay, con number 5. Locals will be behind me on this one. I know there's more apartments coming. And like I said, with population density, we can only grow up in this county at this point. Yeah, there's a couple new neighborhoods going in. At Innisbrook, they actually tore out one of the golf courses to build more houses. I think Toll Brothers is building those houses, so they're cool houses. But there's also a lot of apartments going in. Big hedge funds building a lot of apartments in St Petersburg and all the way up to Tarpon Springs. I don't know how you feel about that. Locals fight it quite a bit. There's actually a big plot of land that's owned by Walmart, I think, on the north side of Tarpon Springs, just on US 19. They've been trying to build apartments there for a long time, and the city keeps denying them because of how the traffic will enter the road, and there's not additional money to create another exit out of the neighborhood, all those kind of things. So your local governments are trying to manage that kind of stuff. But there is still a need for more housing. We actually had a couple listings in St. Petersburg about 6 or 8 months ago. One of them was a big house in front and then a small house in the back, like an additional accessory dwelling unit. Another one was a house in the front and no house in the back, and the city was offering like really discounted loans and like subsidies so that seller could build another property in the back. All these cities are looking for more housing, and they're trying to be creative about it and trying to integrate it into the system in other ways, but there's still apartments coming. Okay, that was pros and cons of Pinellas County. A lot of people love Pinellas County. A lot of people think maybe they can't afford it. Maybe it's too flood prone. You probably can't afford it. If you can afford the other areas around here, you can probably afford something in Pinellas County. And we'd love a chance to find what works just perfect for you. There's big houses, there's small houses, there's old houses, there's new houses. I sound like Dr. Seuss. But give us a call, text, or email anytime. We'd love a chance to earn your real estate business here in the whole Tampa area. Thanks for coming by.